hello everyone. I welcome you all to this session with another topper that we have, Mr. Aman Kumar. He is today a successful RBI Grade B officer. Although his journey was not the easy one, and he was also a working aspirant. He have given the previous attempt. He was unfortunately was not able to clear those attempts. But today you are going to listen not only his journey, but you are also going to learn how did he pick himself up from those failures, how did he raise, and how in 2023 he was able to clear this examination. And from this story you are going to learn a lot. So buckle up. And first of all, like to welcome Mr. Aman Kumar. So welcome, sir, and congratulations on clearing this examination.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Right. So when we are talking about the journey of a officer, why always start with the boring? Where did the story start? Let's start with his reaction. So what was your reaction, Aman, when you come to know ki okay, I am able to successfully clear the 2023 RBI Grade B examination?
Ma'am, the first thing that I did when the result got out was I rechecked. I checked it again that, okay, am I sure that is it my roll number or is it something else? So I rechecked it first of all. And when I made sure, okay, that is my roll number only, I have been selected, then I was very happy, first of all. Then I thanked God, okay, that I have made it through. And the first thing that I did after that was I called my mom, I called my mother, then I called my brother and my dad for all this. And then I told them, okay, that the results are out now and I am in. So that was the first thing that I did when the results got out.
I think it must have felt great that after, such a long time period, you were able to not only clear this examination, but make your parents proud. And yes, of course, we all get to have that opportunity where we have successfully done something and we get to share that happiness with our family. So that you did, and
Definitely.
that was great. Now let's come to the origin. So what is your educational background, where you hail from, and how did this journey of RBI started?
Ma'am, yes. So, ma'am, I'm from Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. I have done my schooling from DAV and I have completed my BTech from Delhi College of Engineering in civil engineering. I passed out in 2019. After that, I have done my master's from IIT Roorkee in earthquake engineering with specialization in structural dynamics. And right now, I'm working in Coal India Limited in civil department as an assistant manager.
Right. And when did you come to know about the RBI and you decided ki okay, I'm going to start preparing for RBI?
Yeah. So, ma'am, this was my third attempt in which I have made it through. So I came to know it when I gave my first attempt, that was in 2019 or 2020. So that was the first time when I came to know about this exam. And then I realized ki, all right, this is something in which I can see myself after some time as a future. So that is from where I can say that my journey started and I started preparing for that. So that is from where my journey started.
And why did you pick RBI? I mean, you were from IIT and you were working in like Coal India, and that's a great PSU. So why did you come and say ki okay, I should prepare for RBI?
When I was graduating, so I looked upon all the career aspects that I had. So for that, I first of all made a list that in which sector or in which job I can see myself. So and apart from that, one of our senior was getting selected in that. So then I came to know ki all right, there is one exam called RBI Grade B, and then I looked upon the internet that what are the things that RBI provides, what are the aspects, what all are the perks and everything I came to know. And then I decided ki, all right, this is something for which I should prepare, and I should prepare religiously for that. So from there my journey started and I started preparing for this exam.
But since you're working in Coal India and it's a like great PSU, why then was there something ki maybe unsatisfactory about your job, or what was the reason that you pursue RBI? Because usually what happened, as like you said, ki you failed earlier two attempt and you had a very decent job, right? So usually people get comfortable there. They are satisfied with their job. Salary is coming. They daily have a routine to go and come to. And why, like anybody, after getting exhausted from job, will look toward the RBI and say, ki, okay, I'm going to prepare from this scratch for this examination.
Yeah, ma'am, first of all, I would like to highlight that my journey for RBI started before I got this job in Coal India Limited. So I was preparing for it, RBI way before I got into this job. And when I got into this job, I would say that there is no dissatisfaction from this job. I love my job as of now. But there was something that I have decided way before coming to this job. And this was something that was left unfinished. And I like to finish things off because this is something that I have started way before joining this. So in my mind, there was something, all right, this task you have started, but it has not been finished. And
Hmm.
still you have not given your 100%. So you should give your 100% and then you will see that if you are able to make it or not. So there was this feeling in my mind that I should at least give my 100%, even though I am in a great job. I would say that this is a great job and I enjoy every part of it. But I need to satisfy that. I need to give my 100%, and that is what kept me running. That is what kept me preparing for this exam, even when I am in this job. So this is why even after getting a job in Coal India Limited, I kept on preparing for this job.
I think that's a great lesson that once you start this race, no matter what comes in your way, good or bad, you finish the race. And you are such an
Yes, ma'am.
example of that particular quote, that if you have started, finish the race.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when we are talking about your preparation journey, since it was not the easy one, right? You had job, you have failures, you have a great career also, and you have inspirations also. But in journey, sometimes there are low points. So what
Yes,
you
ma'am.
would say was the lowest point of your RBI preparation journey?
Ma'am, the lowest point I would say that it was when I gave my second attempt and I was not able to make it through phase two. I was not able to clear the phase two. So at that time, I had prepared religiously. I had prepared I would say that one of my best preparations. But even then, I was not able to clear phase two. So that was the point where I sat and I thought, that all right, what is wrong, what went wrong, and should I start again or should I look for something else? But deep down I knew that I have started this, so I got to finish this thing. So that was the point, but that was not for a long time. I just sat, ki, all right, I have was not able to clear this in this attempt, so let's go for the next one. So that is something which in my opinion was my lowest point.
Okay, but not only you like pick yourself from the lowest point, but you also had a job. Like, and
Yes, ma'am.
after, since you were working in a PSU, it's a demanding job. So
Yes,
how did you kept yourself constantly motivated? Ki, okay, I'm preparing for this examination, because see, it's a competitive examination. There is always
yes,
a
ma'am.
chance you can get successful, but there are more chances that you might fail, see failures,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So how did you manage to keep away that negativity and really kept your preparation floating?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for that, one of the main reason that kept me preparing for this exam is that I already had a job and that is a decent one. So I had that thing in my mind ki, all right, I have to give this exam, and even if it does not work, I will be in a position which is not bad at all. So that gave me a kind of satisfaction. It provided me with a cushion that okay, if I fall, then there is something on which I am right now. So that is something which kept me preparing for this. And I would like to highlight the support that I got from my family because they have been a huge source of inspiration and motivation for me. Because when I failed my second attempt, then my family tried to tell me and they consoled me that, okay, you have given your 100% and you have a job now. So you prepare if you want. And even if you don't get a job, you still have something on which you can look yourself in the future. So that is something which kept me moving in the right direction. And as I have already mentioned that I knew that in my second attempt there was something missing. So I need to work in that direction, and then I will see ki I have given my 100% now, and let's see that what happens for the next attempt. So that is what kept me moving throughout.
Right. So when we are talking about your journey, you have very well mentioned that a support system need to be there. So your
Yes, ma'am.
parents were there, your family was like keeping you motivated. That's a great. And I actually really liked in everybody who is working, especially working aspirant, they usually complain ki, okay, the next person or the other people in the competition, they are full time preparing. So they have an advantage, but they don't understand their own privilege that you have a job, you have a security
Definitely,
net.
ma'am.
So,
Definitely.
so if you are talking about the mental pressure, then we can say that somebody without job is facing more pressure than
Yes,
somebody with a
ma'am.
job.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Okay, so I think this is a great lesson and great privilege that every job, like working aspirant, should learn and
Yes, ma'am.
understand. Right. So when we are talking about your journey, you have told that you were not able to crack this examination in two attempts. This was your third attempt. What difference did you make? What you would say were the key changes you have made in 2023 attempt that have made this success possible?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, when I gave my second attempt, so I was not able to clear the phase two. So the thing that went in my mind initially was that what went wrong in my phase two. So I re-strategized that and I made sure to work on the things on which I was lagging earlier. So I uh, I just had a brief kind of mental thought in my mind, and then I realized that my phase two descriptive part was something which was not up to the mark. So I knew that I have to work in that direction because in my second attempt I did not do an answer writing. So I knew that I have to work on that part. And what I realized in my second attempt was that there was not any structured revision because when we have very less time, we have too much subject and too much content to cover. So for that, I needed to have a strategy that, okay, that I have this and I can now do a rapid revision. So for that, what I did was I made small notes of the schemes and the reports because they play a very important and crucial role in ESI. So I made a little notes so that I can condense the reports and schemes of 1 month into 3 or 4 pages. So that helped me a lot to revise in the last days when my exam is just on the way. So that helped me a lot. And apart from that, my English, because in my second attempt, I did not prepare for English. So I knew that I was lacking there and I need to work in the right direction. That I need to, first of all, work that how to write the required number of words in the exam, and that too the content should be respectable. It should have something that would actually make sense, and it will present a better picture that this candidate has something to offer, that this candidate has written something meaningful. So for that I prepared a list of 20 or 25 topics. And then I asked myself that, okay, I should be prepared with the introduction, with the body, with the conclusion, along with the data, because data plays a very important and huge role in answer writing as well. So for that, I made I would say template answers for that. So I had around 20 to 25 topics for which my content was almost ready. I have not written the entire answers, but I had the data, I had the intro and the conclusion with me. So that helped me a lot for descriptive part. And I also took help of this chat GPT also because I used to feed it that how to write a well-structured point. So it used to tell me, okay, that this is where you can improve. So that also helped me. And majorly I focused for a descriptive ESI because in my second attempt, I was not able to score respectable amount of marks in ESI. So that is where I worked majorly in my phase two. That is something which I did differently this time.
So if I have to summarize, the major changes that you have made was regarding the phase two preparation because you were not
Yes,
able
ma'am.
to successfully crack the phase two of this
Yes, ma'am.
examination. So you worked really hard toward making the notes, and for last minute revision, you
Yes,
worked
ma'am.
really hard toward making the notes or further material for descriptive English, like how to know the structure and things like that. And for ESI, because you were not satisfied with your marks in the ESI section in previous attempt, so you worked on the facts that that can be written, and you judicially used the chat GPT part, that how a point can be improved, and
Yes,
as the
ma'am.
suggestion were given, you implemented that and you got the result.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think that's a great advice. If somebody don't want to waste their attempt, they should directly take lessons from your attempt, how to improve their answer writing and how to improve their phase two preparation. And let me just ask you, when we are talking about this, did you start preparing for phase one first, then phase two, or was it like first you prepare for phase two and then phase one?
Ma'am, as we know that phase one, many of the things are static in nature, like QRE. So that is static. Only the current part is the GA. So my preparation started with phase two first because I had already prepared for phase two. So I just kind of revised it. I made sure that I go through the notes one more time, and then I kept on using the the test that I was able to give, so that it can test my knowledge that, okay, all right, I have retained what I have learned. So for that, I first of all started with my phase 2 preparation, and that too with finance, because finance was static as well as management. So I made sure that my static part is ready, and then I should move towards the current part and phase 1 part. So that is how I started my preparation.
So in crux, if I have to tell somebody, I would advise that if you want to get successful like Aman Kumar, you should start your preparation from phase 2 and then move to phase 1, right?
Yes, ma'am, that is what I used. So that is for me worked.
Yes, yes. I think that's a great advice, and I it makes sense also, right? So
Yes,
now when
ma'am.
we are talking about your journey, so who you would say is the unsung hero of this RBI Grade B journey?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, I have already like extended my heartiest thanks to each and everyone who has helped me. But uh, if I would have to name someone apart from my family, that would be my friend, Mr. Shubham Thakur. He has helped me a lot, because when I was preparing, I used to send him my notes for the English, that I have written this reading comprehension, I have written this. So he used to check this, and then he used to tell me that, okay, this thing can be improved. This you have written very well. So he sometimes used to highlight that, okay, you have written this very well. So keep this, but in this area, you can work a little bit. So whenever I thought that, okay, I have written something, that I'm talking about the phase 2. So I used to make a Word file, and then I used to send him that, Shubham, I have written this. Now you have to check and tell me that where am I lagging and what can be improved. So if I talk about any unsung hero, that would be my friend, Mr. Shubham Thakur.
So I hope Mr. Thakur is watching this and he will extend his congratulations to you also, right? So now when we are talking about this journey, since you were a working candidate, and working candidates have, I think, the biggest hurdle that they face is the time. Even if
Yes,
they
ma'am.
want to prepare for 12 hours, their job, their commitments don't allow them.
Yes.
So you, first of all, I like to ask you, how demanding was your job and how much daily study hours you were able to extract out of the 24 hours that you have?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, as far as my work is concerned, so as it is a central PSU, Coal India Limited, which is responsible for majority of electricity production in India. So the job, I would say, is not very laid back. You have to be vigilant, you have to be alert. So I used to work, and apart from work, when I used to come back to my room, then I used to utilize the time that I have. I have to make sure that I use the time, because I know that the people who are not in job, they have already prepared, or they have already started their day well before me. So I have to utilize the rest of the time which is remaining with me. And personally, I never felt that I have lack of time, because deep down in my mind, I knew that even if I have lack of time, I have kind of mental less mental pressure, because I have that job with me. Because the people who are studying full-fledgedly just for this exam, they don't have the job. So I understand their pain. And that is how I used to convince myself that even if you have less time, you have that mental stability with you. So you have to utilize, and you have to balance things. You have to not only judge by the amount of time you have to see that you are not that much mentally pressured as the people who are not working. So that is how I managed to motivate myself. And I used to always say to me that you have time. If you want to prepare, you can easily prepare with the amount of time that you are left with. So that is how I prepared along with my job.
I think that is great. One can take notes from your journey also. But if we are talking about in this sense, then I would like to ask you, how did your daily routine look like? So if somebody is working, he can also copy paste that routine and manage it according to their need and their job demand.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as far as you said that copy pasting, so I would say that each and everyone has to just customize their own daily routine. And as far as my routine was concerned, so first of all, I'm clearly not a morning person. I struggle to wake up early in the morning. So I had to utilize the time that I have at night.
Mhm.
So my daily routine started with me getting ready for the job, preparing my breakfast, and then going for the job. As I live alone here, so I have to prepare my breakfast, and then I used to go for job. And in my job, if anytime, if I have any spare time, then I was able to just revise for 10 or 15 minutes for my GA. That was the time that I had, because in my job I had limited time to prepare. So, and when I used to come back from my office, then I just used to sit and relax and then make up my mind that, okay, this much part I have to do it now, that for that day, because I am already lagging from the people. So I have to utilize my time. And then I used to prepare, like after coming from 7. So I used to start my work at 7, my preparation at 7, and then just a dinner break and talking to my parents, and then again starting my preparation. So that is how my daily schedule went. I used to do my work, and then after coming from work, I used to devote my time for preparations. So that is how my daily routine was.
I think it's a very simple routine, and one can like learn that you don't need to overcomplicate things. Like simple things work and they work best.
Yes, ma'am, definitely, ma'am. Because schedule is something which you have to keep as simple as possible. So
Hmm.
that is what I tried my best to keep that divide the time. That much time is for work, and then that much time is for your preparation. So
Hmm.
that is how I divided my work and my preparations.
Right. So when we are talking about this journey, since you were working and like you have some fair advantage also, but yes, you have time constraint also. So how did you prepare for the phase 1 of this examination? What were your sources and what was your strategy to cover the section of GA, to cover the section of quant, reasoning, English?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for phase one, as I knew that, okay, that I am kind of good or I am kind of average, that I will not face any major problems in reasoning and quant. So I used to practice that just bit by bit. I never sat and I prepared that I will prepare this chapter solely. No, that was not my strategy, as I knew myself that I am good enough. So what I did is I used to just pick only the topics in which I think I was lagging. And I used to pick 4, 5, 6 problems from the internet, and I solved only those problems. And when my phase one was approaching, I did lot of mocks test. Not lots of. I managed to do 5, 6, or 7 mock test. I managed to give. That was my strategy for quant and reasoning. And for English, I knew that only mocks will be good surface. So I relied on mocks for my English. And for GA, I knew that this is the deal breaker, because it carries 80 marks from 200. So I knew that only this thing can make or break situations. So for that, I started preparing early. My phase one preparation started with GA.
Hmm.
And for GA, my sources were, first of all, I had my source Affairs Cloud. So they provide a PDF. So I used to do that PDF, and there was one more PDF of Guidely. So I used to read that PDF, and they provide MCQs. So what I did on a daily basis was I copy pasted those uh, MCQs, and I used flashcards for that. So I used to put them on a flashcard, and then I used to revise them on a daily basis. So this is what I did for my GA. And when my phase one was approaching, and I was continuously revising them, because I knew that if you want to retain the facts for GA, you have to revise it as much as possible. So I used to revise them. And when my phase one exam was approaching, I also used the EduTap PDF of GA to just source and to just supplement with my GA preparation. So that is what I used for phase one, QRE and GA. My major focus was on GA only.
Right. So that is how you cover the sources. But when you were sitting in the examination, what strategy did you apply? So as far as I can tell, your sources were very simple. You have
Yes,
told
ma'am.
some sources for GA, and you have told how you use Affair Cloud, how you use Guidely, how did you use the EduTap material, and for quant reasoning English. Rather, I would say English में you were confident, and quant reasoning में you gave more mocks
Yes, ma'am.
rather than
Definitely.
just going for ki material I'll have to cover from this
Yes,
point to
ma'am.
this point. Right. So when you're sitting in the examination, preparation is one thing, giving the output is next thing. So
Yes, ma'am.
how did you attempt this phase 1 examination?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as correctly pointed out by you, that sitting in exam is totally different from preparing. That is
Hmm.
absolutely true. So for that, your revision should be at that level that if you see a problem, if you see a GK question, you should be able to get the answer right from the top of your head. So for that, only revision and revision can help you. I would suggest that you should revise it again and again, and you should have that faith in your sources, because I would not recommend you to change your sources once you have decided, no matter which source you are using. If you have used that source, then you should have that faith in you that, all right, this source I have chosen and this will do the job for me. So I had that faith. I I tried my best to keep my sources as simple as possible. And then once I have made a choice, I stuck by them. I used to revise them only. I did not look for any extra sources or any extra information, because then what I will be doing, I will be just giving my brain some information that is not required at that point. Because when the time is very less, then you have to just revise. So that is why I just kept myself to revising, and I just made sure that I have that faith in my sources that I have already chosen. So that is how I did for that.
Okay, so Aman, as you have told me that you have good sources for phase one, you covered them well, and you prepare very confidently. You applied a great strategy while you were giving the examination, like how to prepare GA, revise it again and again, apply the question that you can. It should be in top of your head. But when you come out of the examination hall, how much confident you were that you will be able to clear the phase one? This question is important because usually what happen after giving the phase one, sometimes students are not confident that I'll be able to clear this
Yes, ma'am.
examination. As a result, they don't start preparing. And then they come to know, ki, okay, I have cleared the phase one, but
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have not prepared for phase two. What was the case with you, and what you would advise that one should do when he or she should start preparing for the phase two of this examination?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, if I would like to talk about myself, so when I just came out of the room after giving my phase one, I knew that paper was not easy. And the second thing that I also knew was it was not easy, not for me. It was difficult for everybody. So the level of question and the level of exam was same for each and every one of us. If it was hard for me, it was hard for others as well. So that point was in my mind. And when I came out of the room, I was kind of uh, sure that okay, I might get selected. I was not 100% sure, but yes, I was in the state that I could have cleared that. So if I was in that doubt, what I did, I honestly took a rest for 2 3 days. I would not say that I started preparing just after coming from the exam. No, I took a rest for 2 3 days, and then before coming the result for phase one, I started preparing for phase two. Because what if I was selected? Then it would only result in the guilt that I have now wasted my 7 days or 10 days. So that was something which I did not wanted to take the risk for. And that is something which I would advise to each and everyone who has given the phase one, that even if you are not sure, you should start preparing for phase two. Because what will happen? It will only give you the knowledge. It will not take away anything from you. It will just add to your knowledge. So it is my request and my advice to each and everyone that do not think that you will not be able to make through the phase one. You should start preparing for phase two, because it will not do any harm to you. It will just add your knowledge. So that would be my suggestion to each and everyone.
I think this is a very important suggestion that sometimes, देखो, phase one when we are talking about, it is only it is prelims exam, right? It's only qualifying in nature.
Yes,
Marks
ma'am.
are not getting calculated anywhere.
Yes, ma'am.
If you are able to make it, phase 2 ke marks matters a lot for your final selection, so don't make that
Definitely.
mistake. And just like you said, Aman, it was a great advice that there are no negatives of preparing. If you get selected, well and good, you have prepared for the phase 2, it will give you result. If you're
Yes,
not
ma'am.
able to like clear the phase 1 of this examination, it still is adding to your knowledge, and that knowledge will be used somewhere and in some form. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so this is, thank you so much, Aman, for this advice. Now when we are coming for the phase 2 preparation, since you had your fair share of failures for the phase 2, I know it would have stinged and it would have created that anxiety. So
Yes,
how
ma'am.
did you prepare this time to set your up 100% for the success?
Ma'am, for phase two, as I have already given that, so I knew that where I was lagging. And that is something which I realized earlier, that I could have revised the phase two better. So that was my approach this year, that I need to make sure that I had that strategy for revision. Because you can cover the syllabus, but what matters the most is how you revise it and how frequently and how efficiently you revise it. So
Hmm.
for that, this time what I did, as I knew that finance and management is majorly static in nature. However, ESI on the other hand is based on the dynamic knowledge. It changes with each and every year. So that is why I started preparing with finance and management. So for that, I used my sources, that is EduTap. I prepared from the chapters that is given by EduTap. And after completing each and every chapter, I used to give mocks, the practice test for that. And one more thing that I did was I first of all downloaded the official syllabus that is given by RBI, and then I matched that what are the chapters which are in coherence with the syllabus of RBI in EduTap. And then I highlighted those chapters, and then I further divided those chapters on the basis of their importance for objective point of view as well as from the descriptive point of view. So while reading that chapter, if I knew that this chapter is important for both, that is objective and descriptive, so my mindset was in that direction only, that I should not only prepare for objective, I should as well go for the descriptive part as well. I used to ask myself that if I would have been the examiner, what questions I might have set up. So that gave me a fair share of idea that, okay, you should note down that point, or you should read this much more specifically or more religiously than the other part. And I used to make handwritten notes for finance as well, the major points, because that would help me after when my phase two was approaching. So my handwritten notes were there with me, along with for finance and management, I refer to EduTap, the notes that have been provided by you guys. So for that, I have referred. And for my ESI, because ESI was dynamic in nature, so I need to be ready for the current affairs part as well. So for that, I refer to the magazine, that is Reports tab, as well as the scheme tab. And for that, I knew that the magazine was quite big, it is hefty. So I have to condense that, because if I need to revise it very frequently and very speedy, in a very speedy fashion, so I have to condense that. For that, what I did is I first of all read all the magazine, and then I used to make the schemes in a condensed form. It had in my mind that I have to condense each and every scheme at least at max in 4 lines. So I made a note. So that is how I was able to condense my 100-page or 80 pages magazine into 4, 5, or 6 pages, and which helped me in my rapid revision when my phase two was approaching. So that was my approach for ESI. And for ESI static part, I refer to the notes of Runal sir for economic static part. So that gave me a fair share of idea that this is how static economic statics works. And for my this current affairs, I refer to the schemes and reports. That was for my ESI. And for finance and management, I used to practice and I give mocks. Now coming to the English part. So for English, I knew that I was lacking in that, because for that we need to practice, and there are only 3 questions which will come, and they will carry 100 marks. That is equivalent to all my preparations for ESI. So that was in my mind, that I have to make sure that English is at that level, if not more. So for that, what I did, I made a list of topics which are probable topics, because they would help me in 2 ways. First of all, any essay might come in English, or they could come in the form of like 15 markers for ESI. So they served a dual purpose for me. So for that, I made a list of 20 to 25 topics, and then I framed the answer. I did not write the complete answer. I had that introduction, the body, and the conclusion, along with the data, which can be used for preparing the answer. So I made a list of that for English. And after making that list, I used to prepare for precis as well. So I used to write precis, and then I used to evaluate it by myself, or I used to send it to my friend that, okay, I have written this, and now you should tell me that where am I lagging and what is the scope for improvement. So that is how I prepared for English. So that was my strategy for phase two.
I think you have mentioned it very correctly, and I think that is something that most student, while they were preparing, ignore. That the 3 question in English worth 100 marks. That means the complete preparation that you are doing for ESI, the complete
Yes,
preparation
ma'am.
that you are doing for FM component.
Yes, ma'am.
So one should not take it very lightly. As you have said, it's a great strategy that you prepare some economic topics in hand. It
Yes,
will
ma'am.
either be helpful in the essay part or it can be helpful in your ESI descriptive part.
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
for ESI, just like you said that you watch some YouTube videos of Munral sir and you watch for the static part and you refer to the EduTap material, the schemes and reports part for the current section. For
Yes,
FM,
ma'am.
you had the notes in handy. But the best thing I like about your strategy is you thought about the revision. So
Yes,
you made
ma'am.
short notes, be it for ESI, be it for your FM part, be it for the current affair part that is asked in the either finance or the ESI part. So I think that is a very smart strategy. And if one is preparing or setting himself up for the success, then he should work in that direction. And that is reflected in your strategy. That is great. Now, when we are talking about the descriptive component of your phase two, people are worried about the typing speed and they are even more worried about the word limit. So how did you manage these two aspects of the descriptive answer writing?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for that, we need to understand that for descriptive, you have to first of all be inside the word limit. You should neither exceed it or you should not go like too less for the required answer. So for that, you have to first of all analyze your typing speed, that in that specified amount of time, are you even able to go and touch that limit or not? So as far as I am concerned, I knew that my typing speed is average. I do not type very fast or very slow. So I knew that my typing speed is something which I can work even after giving my phase one. Now the second part which I had to work upon was the content, because content plays a huge role and most important role whenever you try to write any descriptive answer. So I made sure that I had that content with me. And for that only, I made the list of 20 to 25 topics and then I prepared in that direction. And when my phase one was over, I remember that I used to write two, three answers and get it checked. So for that, and I used to keep stopwatch with me that I should not breach the limit, because that is something which I cannot do and which I will not be able to do in the exam as well. So it is fruitless to go beyond the time limit. So I used to strategize myself that okay, now 10 minutes are remaining, I have to conclude. Even if my body is remaining, I used to just summarize it and then make sure that my answer is ready now. So that is something which I did only after phase one, because I was confident in my typing speed. So if students are not confident about their typing speed or they have some like fear for not able to type, so they should first of all work a little bit in that direction. But it should not be solely that you are working only for improving your typing speed. You should have that content with you, because then it will again serve a dual purpose. It will increase your typing speed as well as it will give you content. So that is the strategy which I use, and I think the other might find it handy as well.
Right. So from your answer, I can suggest ki typing speed and word limits are two important thing. But
Yes,
yes, you will have to also take care of the time.
yes, ma'am, definitely.
When you are writing an answer, if you feel your answer should not be open. Like if you feel like you have left out 2 point in body, let it be, but
Yes,
conclude your
ma'am,
answer.
definitely. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. And if somebody is worried about their typing speed, yes, they should go ahead, practice for it, work in that direction a little. But once they reach the average, they are okay.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
they should take care that they should not solely prepare only for the typing. You know, you are just typing some random word, you have opened up a essay
Yes,
and you are
ma'am.
just typing that they should not do. Combined preparation they should go for. Try to write one to answer. And I think in anyhow, if you have like low speed and you practice daily typing the answer, you manage the time, you are able to improve your answer, and you also get the gist ki, okay, I'm reaching the word limit, I'm not reaching the word limit, I have to complete this and that. So overall, it will, if you practice more, it give you a great deal of I would say advantage over the people who are not practicing, rather than just cramping the material. Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we are talking about the interview section, since I would say ki, if I'm not wrong, this was the first time that you are appearing for the interview.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
were you like worried or anxious ki, okay, this is happening for the first time, so I should prepare early for the interview? Or was it like ki, no, I'll prepare for the interview once the result of phase two comes?
Yes, ma'am. So when my phase two was over, my exam was over, then I did not think, to be honest, I did not think about preparing for interview just after coming from the exam. So I used to give myself time ki, okay, now you have time, you do not need to worry. But when the result was out, I saw my name, then I started getting kind of anxious, and now that I have to work in that direction. So because I have earlier also I have given interviews like in my Coal India and other exams as well. So I had that idea ki that is how interview works. So when my result was out, then I started preparing for RBI interview. And while preparing for the interview, I divided it into two parts. First is knowing about the RBI and the syllabus, and second is knowing about myself. So for that, I first of all looked for the transcripts which were available on the internet. So that gave me an idea that that is how the questions are going to be, and that is in which direction you should prepare. And for as far as my profile based questions are concerned, I need to be thorough that why did I choose that? Because I knew this was coming, that from being an engineer, you are switching your profile. What is the reason? Why are you leaving your current job? So I made sure that I am ready with the answer. Because this is something that will, even if they ask, then the hold is in my hand. I should be able to present it. I can tell what I really feel. So for that, I prepared some template answers, and I again referred for chat GPT a little bit, that so that I can frame my answer in a structured manner. Because in interview, what you say matters a lot. How you say that also matters a lot. You should present it in a structured way, organized way. So that is why I prepared some sample questions about myself. And then I used to write all the highlighting points, that why did I choose? I should be clear about myself, first of all. So when I was clear about myself, then I moved on to knowing about the RBI. So for knowing the RBI, I referred for their website. Like many of their annual circulars are there, semi-annual circulars are there, then monthly circulars, announcements, various speeches of the governors, deputy governors. So I read in that direction also, as well as I kept in touch. I kept myself in touch with the current affairs as well, because they might ask you that are you aware about that incident or not. So that is how I started preparing, and then I went to give some mocks as well. Like I gave mocks from Forum RBI, yes, Forum RBI, and then I gave mocks on EduTap as well. So that is how I prepared, and that was my strategy, that I should be thorough at least about myself. If I don't know any questions about my syllabus or RBI, that is okay, because I can get away with that, because none can have the entire knowledge of other things, but I should be thorough about myself. If I'm not able to answer a question that is based on me, that will reflect me in a very bad light, which I never wanted. So that is why I was thorough about myself first, and then I moved for the RBI and as well as this syllabus. So that was my approach for interview this time.
I think you have like given a complete direction towards somebody who is preparing for interview, that what type of question they should look toward, what facts or the fields they should cover, to be it about their self, their job, their educational profile, some expected question they can see. And people usually say कि know more about RBI and less about yourself, and you have proved how first you should like cover every aspect of yourself, know better about yourself. It will reflect in your interview, because and then you should go, yes, with wholeheartedly you should prepare for RBI. But even if you are not able to answer few questions, that will be okay, but yes, it will not be acceptable if you are not able to answer the question about yourself.
Yes,
So you
ma'am.
have told me that you have prepared a list. How many of those questions were asked in the actual interview?
Maybe if I calculate the basic questions like why do you want to switch, what is the reason, and then they ask some profile based questions. So I would say that fairly 4 or 5 questions was from that list that I had prepared. So I was glad that okay, I have, because what I personally feel is interview is more about knowing yourself. In phase
Hmm.
one and phase two, you try to understand how academics and how RBI works, like what questions they want us to know. But in interview, they would like them to know about ourselves. So we should be clear about ourselves first. We should find that why are we preparing for that. We should be clear that in my mind. So when I was preparing, I honestly I would say that I came to know ki, all right, this was the reason why I was preparing, and this was in a chronological order. Because when we think, we only think about certain perks, that salary is there, but you cannot say it directly to their onto their faces. So you have to have that clarity in your mind कि apart from salary, is there really anything that you are going for. So that is
Hmm.
what I found out when I was preparing for the interview. So I would say that that was a great journey when I was preparing for the interview, because I came to know many things about myself also. So that is what my approach was for the interview.
So it must have felt great that you prepared some topic and they were asked also, and you were well prepared. And it, I think, boosts your confidence also in the interview. That if you are answering some question that you have prepared, then okay, you are ready to face other question. If you have not prepared, you are unprepared about yourself, you're not able to answer it, they can grill you also, and they
Yes,
that can
ma'am.
like lower your confidence in the interview also. So lastly, I would like to ask you, since you had a like very busy schedule, you have preparation, you have job, was there some room for the hobbies?
Room for hobbies, ma'am, I would say that as I was posted here, so I decided to cook on my own. So that was the hobby that I took up when I joined this organization. So I tried to cope up with that. I tried to keep it alive as far as possible. And when my phase one was approaching, so about a month earlier, I stopped cooking. So I would say that I changed my hobby because cooking was never my hobby. That became when I joined this organization because I always wanted to cook. So that the only hobby that I carried was like cooking. That is
Hmm.
it. Apart from that, no other hobbies was being pursued.
I think it's a great life skill also if you are able to cook and
Definitely,
if you enjoy cooking. Okay, so
definitely.
in long run, it is going to be very beneficial. So students who are stressed out while they're preparing, you can keep up one hobby or two hobby to, keep yourself cool. Of course, if the notification is out and you have limited time, then maybe you can pause it, just like Aman have done it, and now he'll be like going with the full force toward the cooking. Right, Aman?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. I will try each and everything.
All right. So, lastly, I would like to ask you any final tip for the people who are preparing for this particular job, and they might be preparing it for 2024, 2025. So, all the future aspirant who are watching this interview, what piece of advice you would like to share with them?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my advice would be first of all to all each and every student who is preparing for this, that first of all keep this thing straight in your mind that it does not matter if it is your first attempt or second attempt or the students who have already given their previous attempts will have any edge over you. No. If you are preparing freshly, then you should not be worried about it. You should start from scratch because people who have already given their attempts, they will also start from scratch. So you should not be scared first of all, and once you are through that phase, you should first of all try to understand the pattern. You should be thorough about the syllabus first of all. You should have that clear idea in your mind that, all right, this is the syllabus and this is what I will go after. I will not change my sources. I will not change my direction of studying. So you should be clear about yourself and you should make your schedule. And even if you are not able to follow that schedule religiously, do not get disheartened because couple of time it happened with me also that I was not able to give time. I would not say that in my entire preparation each and every day I studied continuously or on the same amount. There was some ups and downs as well, but you should not get disheartened from that, and you should be clear about your sources, and you should have that sense of faith in you that, all right, you have chosen this journey, you can finish it off. You have to have that confidence in your mind, and from that you can build upon and you can start preparing daily. If you have not like prepared for 1 day or 2 day that has been left, you should not think about that. You should move ahead because this preparation is only about going in the forward direction. There will be no benefit about thinking that what has been lost. So you should be clear about that. Even who have the students who have cleared, they would not have studied the each and every day. So you should be clear about that, and you should have that faith in your mind. And for that, that is for the phase one. And for phase two, you should be clear about the sources, and revision is the key. That is, I would say again and again that you should revise it n number of times. Any number of revision is not sufficient. If someone will ask me that how many times should I revise, I would say as much as possible. That is the simple answer I could give, because that is how you will be able to retain things in your mind. So revision is the key, and you should be able to clear the limit of writing in the phase two, because that also plays a very important point. Descriptive is like 200 marks out of 300. So you should be very clear about it that you should give the required amount of importance to descriptive part, and English also plays a very important role. So you should focus on each and everything. Not only you should focus on reports and schemes, you should give advantage and you should give importance to each and everything that is for your own advantage, I would say. So that would be my tip to each and everyone, that prepare and have faith in you.
I think we have, like, this whole interview, we have learned a lot of lesson, but in the end, the tip that you shared were, I would say, invaluable. And like, one can get this, these are great tips. In simple word, I'll have to say this whole lesson, this whole journey was great, and the tips that you share are going to be very fruitful if somebody implicate them very well. Keep that in mind and apply in their actual journey. So thank you so much, Aman, for being here with us and sharing this journey with us, sharing some tips with us. And I'd like to congratulate you again,
Thank
and
you, ma'am.
all the best in this career of RBI. It's a great career that you have chosen. It's a, like, great organization to work with. I hope you will do good and you will enjoy this success now.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.